This game is also pretty interesting because it's a battle of two teams I would say are pretty much on the same level. We have the New Orleans Saints coming off their demolition job, to put it lightly, versus the New England Patriots as 1.5 point favorites on the road to the Houston Texans, coming off a tough, kind of gut wrenching loss where they came back at the end, but just wasn't enough to stop the Atlanta Falcons at the end of the game. So we have Saints favorites on the road in Houston.
Yeah, so the Saints, they're riding high. They beat up the lowly Patriots. Got to get used to saying that. And then the Texans, they had a couple of opportunities to beat the Falcons in that game. Had a late score to get the lead, but couldn't stop them with that field goal. But in this game, for the Texans, it looks like Tank Dell is going to be out. That's going to be a receiver that they'll miss. But they still have Nico Collins and Dalton Schultz to get it done. I do think that the Saints might be riding a little bit of a high, so I can see them coming out flat a little bit against the Texans after what was definitely probably their best game in the last few years as far as dominance is concerned. So who would I trust more, CJ Stroud or Derek Carr? I'm going to take the Texans in this game to have a bounce back win.
Yeah, so I'm gonna ride with the Saints in this game because Derek Carr had a shoulder injury versus the Packers, which was a game they probably would have won if they didn't have to sub in Jameis Winston, where he was trying to eat a W, just came up short in that game, and then they blow a 17-point lead there, and then Derek Carr is playing through his injury versus the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, doesn't really look like himself, and then they go to New England. Alvin Kamara is back. He's starting to get into a groove. Michael Thomas has been a pretty decent option for them, and then Chris Olave has been balling. So I think the Saints roster wise are on another level. I've liked what I've seen from them. And then Derek Carr looked a little bit more like himself in New England, which isn't a tough place to play. So I think they're just better overall as a team right now. I could definitely see the Texans winning, but I'm gonna go with the Saints winning a tough, gritty game. I'm feeling like something like 24-21.
That's a fair score. Yeah, I think it's going to be a good defensive matchup through it all. Kind of similar to what we saw with Falcons and Texans.